Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rosa Yos Diaz. This presentation is for the intersection between disability and LGBT discrimination and marginalization, based on Victoria M. Rodriguez from Roll Down 2020. This is for spring 2026 for Cal State East Bay. I am going to talk about an article by Victoria Rodriguez. It is called The Intersection Between Disability and LGBT Discrimination and Marginalization. This article looks at how disability and LGBT identities overlap and why it's important to understand them together, especially in disability studies. Why does intersectionality matter? Intersectionality matters because many people hold more than one marginalized identity at the same time. LGBTQ individuals are more likely than the general population to also have disabilities, which means they often experience a layer or a compound discrimination rather than just one form of exclusion. This means that the system often addresses only one identity at a time. In this quote from Victoria Rodriguez, she states, "We need to fundamentally alter how society sees what is normal and not, and how that works as for being exclusive of all disabilities." So, in this slide, we're going to talk about the case study of Kaden Clark. In this case study, the author opens up with the case of Caden Clark, an autistic transgender man who was denied access to gender affirming healthcare because of his disability. He was later killed during a police welfare check. This case shows how healthcare, discrimination, disability, and policing can intersect with devastating consequences. Caden Clark was killed during a police welfare check back in 2016. For this slide, we will discuss disability and LGBTQ legal protections. We will discuss the ADA. We will discuss LGBTQ identities historically and LGBT protections. So, the American with Disability Act was created to protect people with disabilities from discrimination. However, the law has historically excluded homosexuality and gender identity disorders, which shows how LGBTQ people were intentionally left out of early disability protections. Let's also mention that LGBTQ protections can vary by state. So, what are the legal contradictions? So, there is many legal contradictions. There are contradictions in how the laws treat LGBTQ people with disabilities. For example, people living with HIV are protected under the ADA, while transgender people face inconsistent legal protection, especially when it comes to gender dysmorphia and access to accommodations. So, a reminder that ADA protects people with HIV, there's inconsistent protection for transgender people, and courts disagree on gender dysmorphia. In this slide, we're going to talk about disability in LGBTQ communities. According to the U.S. Transgender Survey, 39% of transgenders people reported having a disability. This is much higher than the general population, and that actually may be a number higher due to stigma and underreporting. On this slide, you can see the percentage, which is 39%, and how highly unreported it can be, and how much advocacy we need to complete. On this slide, we'll discuss mental health and trauma. Mental health is a major focus in this article. Many LGBTQ people experience trauma caused by discrimination, harassment, and exclusion, which can result in mental health disabilities. 40% of transgender respondents reported attempted suicide, which is highlighting the severe impact of systematic oppression. In this part, we'll discuss institutional harm. LGBTQ people with disabilities experience harm across multiple institutions, including policing, healthcare, schools, and workplaces. These repeated experiences often lead to higher rates of poverty, criminalization, and social exclusion. Here on this slide, you can see some basic data on the types of disability amongst youth and gender identity. In this slide, we will discuss advocacy gaps. For Rodriguez Rondon, she explains that both disability and advocacy and LGBTQ advocacy often fail to address intersectionality. When these movements operate separately, disabled LGBTQ people are frequently excluded from leadership, policy discussions, and support systems. So we need to intersect them both within this field. In this slide, we will discuss recommendations. The author emphasizes the importance of centering disabled LGBTQ voices in advocacy and leadership. Accessibility, inclusion, and trauma-informed approaches should be core priorities in both disability, justice, and LGBTQ movements. Overall, this article shows that disability disproportionately impacts LGBTQ communities. Intersectional advocacy is necessary to reduce harm and create meaningful social change. These ideas also connect to themes from Dr. Donnie's The Book of You, which emphasizes emotional awareness, healing from trauma, and self reflection. And here is my works cited. This is a presentation that was based by Victoria Rodriguez Rodon, published in the American University Journal of Gender, Social Policy, and the Law, along with Dr. Donnie's The Book of Youth, a social emotional workbook for adults. Thank you.